Okay. All right. Welcome to the Long Range Planning Committee Subcommittee of the Peninsula Community Planning Board. It is now 6:10 and the meeting will be recorded. So be aware that the meeting's being recorded. We'll do a roll call. Andrew?
Here.
Here. Jacqueline?
Here.
Paul?
Here.
Sam is not here, but I know he's trying to get online. Been texting back and forth with him. And Javier here. We do have a quorum. So review and approval of the minutes. I am embarrassed. I had about an hour and a half to put the minutes together. I decided to put some slides to make our meeting a little more productive. So probably our next meeting we'll spend 10 minutes just going through minutes. I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem, Javier.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the pass. Non-agenda public comment. So this is opportunities for members of the public or the committee to speak out on non-agenda public comment items. Generally try to limit it to 3 minutes per speaker. So we'll open it up.
Does anyone know what's going on at the Talbot and Rosecrans thing? That 56 units, is that a done deal, or is there a possibility of it not happening, or is it going to go to litigation? Does anybody know? I went to the protests. I didn't have any idea what was going on.
Thanks for participating. I don't know, Andrew, I think were you out there?
No, I had to miss that.
Yeah, I missed it too. I know Eric usually is
He was there.
Margaret, yeah, it gives us the updates. But as I understand, they're well organized and they're continuing trying to find information from the city, and they do have attorney they're retaining if they need to go that route. And it seems like they may have to go to litigation because the city still hasn't been able to provide information as I understand, or set of plans, and it's still going through ministerially. I don't know if anybody else has any other information.
No, it just seems that the city is being not even halfway towards nice with something like this. They're just ramming it down our throat, almost in spite of what most people don't want. It's too bad we've gotten to this point.
Yeah, the complete communities is certainly something that the developers is developer friendly, that's for sure.
No, I also understand that same guy purchased that property on Avenida de Portugal, I think it is. The one with the chocolate, that candy store and a restaurant, and there's a development to the
that corner. Yeah, that's a nice parcel.
Like 2/3 of the whole block, but I've been seen on Nextdoor that the guy this Kyle Clark, I think his name is, he was representing the seller and said that they're not going to tear it down. They're just going to put it out for lease again. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows if that's just short term, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Paul. Anybody else have any non-agenda public comments? All right. If not, we'll
Well, I have a question.
okay.
What is the composition of the new long-range planning committee going to be?
That's a good
How are they going to handle that?
Your guess is as good as mine, that you certainly welcome to volunteer when they'll ask for volunteers, or you're certainly welcome to raise your hand if you want to chair the committee. What I said when I got reelected is that I'd like to co-chair the long range committee. I know there's a lot of items forthcoming, and it's a lot of work. So I certainly, if the board would like, I'd like to continue as a co-chair, but it's all up to the board. So.
And I'll be happy to come on as a what do we call it, a public person or not
Oh, okay.
in person. I know that may
Great.
take another month. I forget. I think what in April they hand out the committees, and then maybe in May they take on other folks. I'm not quite sure exactly how it works.
Yeah, I know
Sure.
one person who ran for the board would like to serve on long range planning committee, and that's Dee Brown.
Should be good. Yeah, that'd be
As a
nice.
community member. You know, she
Yeah.
wasn't elected, so she'd be a community member.
Great. That'd be nice.
Uh-huh.
I am going to take a minute here and call Sam. He's still having a hard time getting on.
Yeah,
So
he's
I'm gonna put myself on mute.
okay.
Let's see.
Were you able to get on?
Yes. I'm on now.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm back. So he says that the email that he has is the wrong email. Would that make a difference?
I don't know what email he got. If he just goes to the if he goes to the website and pulls up the committee page, and
Yeah, it shouldn't matter.
I
It
think
shouldn't
it's
matter.
right. It's right on the line of the meeting line, where you can pull up the agenda and also click on it.
Yeah, I don't think it would matter.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. I don't think there's a link in the agenda.
No, I thought there was.
Hey, Sam,
The agenda is
I was
right
talking
on.
to Paul. He says the email shouldn't matter. I think all you need to go, because the public, anybody from the public can pull that link. So if you just go back to the web page and hit the link and reopen it and then put the password, I think you should be in.
See right here, Andrew, you're seeing the,
The trouble
got
is, it
screen share.
recognizes my email, and it says it's blocked.
Yeah. I don't, okay, all right, thanks, Sam, bye-bye.
the
All right, I
the
apologize. He's
screen
gonna try.
share, the screen share shows the agenda, and the agenda has a link there, I think, if you all can see it. And it has
Mhm.
above that the meeting address and the password.
Right, right.
Okay, yeah, good point. Good
Mhm.
point.
All right, well, let's get into, we have two agenda items. One is, the first one is to discuss and provide input and comments on the draft letter to the city's planning department's draft Midway Rising subsequent environmental impact report. And it's one heck of a document. I focused my comments just on the transportation. I think that is the most problematic. And so I do have just a couple of they're not really PowerPoint slides, but let me share those. So I'm going to stop sharing and go to and reopen my screen, Paul.
Yeah, okay, what, you're still allowed to share here, I haven't.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to share this screen too. See if that works.
So this project is alive again. The last time I heard with it was struggling with financing and trying to get a deal between the tax increment financing.
That I don't know. So
Yeah, because they were trying to they were trying to strike a deal between the various entities which share property tax increment financing, and so I kind of assumed that thing was dead.
we're
Now they
moving
have
ahead with the
yeah, there's a meeting coming up, right, in Chula Vista?
Well, those meetings never really say anything, you know, it's just a PR thing. But the first thing I've seen on this was the supplemental environmental impact report. You know, I asked for real details of this thing for many meetings, and I got shined on. So this thing is substantive now, Javier.
Yeah, no, it's this is a big step. Once they get, I mean, this, getting past this step is a big hurdle.
So we should read it, or at least read part of it.
Good bedtime reading. It's huge. So like I say, I focused on the traffic and I'm looking if there's any other comments, other sections. I know they said noise was also unmitigated impact. They didn't really address emergency evacuation. I thought that might be something that we can put in there. But anyways, I just wanted to. I have two slides.
Were
Oh,
you
sorry.
transportation, like public transit with what you look at as well, or
The roadways. Sam's calling me
public
again. Excuse me.
transportation? Like buses or something like that? You didn't
Hey,
address
Sam.
that?
Okay, great. Hey, Paul. Sam's looking for permission
Oh,
to
he
get
wants
in.
to let it, all right, good, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is
I'll be
there
here in a
anybody
second.
else? Is there anybody else?
No, that's it. He's on
Okay.
now. He should be.
He is.
Um,
Thanks. Great.
Unmute if you want to talk, Sam. His video's not on, there we go.
He's probably getting
Audio's
on.
on. and
Yeah,
the video's coming
good
on.
evening, everyone. Sorry, the system has been fighting me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you made it aboard, Sam. So we're actually just getting into the first agenda item. So anyways, you guys all are somewhat are familiar with the project. It's 49.2 acres. It includes 4,250 residential units, a new 16,000 seat entertainment arena. The existing one is only about 10,000 seats, so it's a significant increase, and it's about 165 feet tall. So it's going to be quite a structure. And there's 130,000 square feet of commercial use, which a lot of that is geared for restaurants, and 8.1 acres of park and plazas. And they, as you all know, they promised to set aside 2,000 residential units as affordable housing, and those are, I think, mid, but if it's not the low, it's moderate income, earning 80% or less of the area median income. The project's going to be built in 2 phases, and the first is going to be the eastern part. They'll build the entertainment center, a lot of the commercial, the area east of Frontier Drive here. So this actually will be the first phase. Let me. So as I mentioned in my letter, I focused on the transportation and the mitigation measures that they've proposed for mitigating transportation. But even their measures that they're proposing, the environmental impact report says the impacts will still be significant and not completely mitigated. So with the commercial and entertainment uses, the report says they'll have a significant impact on transportation. And when I say the transportation, that means Rosecrans Street, the major intersections, Camino de Rio West. So what they're projecting in 2035, there'll be a net increase in what they call vehicle miles traveled, or about 25,000 miles for the commercial uses. And so the way they calculate that, they'll calculate the number of people increase over the existing usage, and they'll estimate where they're coming from, and they'll make an estimate of how many people will be taking buses and so forth. But even after they're very conservative, when I say conservative, I mean I think they're overly projecting how many people will be using the bus transportation. I think they're assuming that over 56% of the people will be traveling down there with transportation. And that's just for the commercial use. And then for the entertainment use, they're estimating, this is when they have concerts and so forth, over 839,000 vehicle miles traveled. So to mitigate that, what they're proposing, and let me go to the report.
Yeah. See if that here's. Okay.
Let's see where I have that here.
Hey, Javier, are those, is the sports arena apples to apples? In other words, the seating those are fixed seats? Do you know? Because when there's a concert, they can fill, they can fill up the floor.
I don't know what they're assuming, but they're assuming a 16,000 seat arena, and then they're assuming 3,500 square feet sort of an outside entertainment center.
I was just wondering how many they could sit in there for a concert, I went to one recently and the whole floor is filled with seats on top of the regular seating.
You know, it actually, it didn't say seating, they just said 16,000 person capacity. So it probably includes the flooring and everything for the concert.
I thought you said it was 19,000.
So it's 16,000
Yeah,
for the arena, and then they have an outdoor event capability of 3,000.
oh, okay, so that's where you came up with the 19.5.
19, yeah, the 19. So they have to, I don't know if they have maybe a big screen outdoors or something, or I don't know, where they can have up to 19,000 people at the site. So that's what they're using as their maximum.
But the bottom line is that this is a major arena.
Major, yeah, it's double their 10,000
Yeah.
capacity.
And they're talking about doubling the number of events, are they, or something like that?
Yeah, they have a substantially increased the amount of events too. So
If the guy who owns the Lakers is involved, you can bet your money on that they's going to do that, so significantly increase the number of events.
mhm.
Cronky.
So
Yeah.
Cronky, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what they're proposing, and this is out of the subsequent EIR, their EIR is for the commercial use to mitigate the traffic increases. They're proposing a shuttle between Old Town and the project. And it says the shuttle shall operate between 12 p.m. and 10 p.m. using one vehicle at 20 or 30-minute headways. So I'm not sure what that means.
I mean,
And then
a 20-minute round trip, it's an 8-minute drive with a turnaround, they're saying one vehicle.
Yeah.
So depending on traffic, it might take them 15 minutes to turn around.
And they don't specify the capacity of the vehicle.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
could be a
Yeah,
van.
the size. Yeah. It doesn't, you're right. That was a good point, Sam. Yeah. And then when they have concerts, what they're saying to mitigate all the increase in traffic from concert users, that they are going to subsidize their employees 50% of a trolley MTS pass for 10 years.
Oh my God.
You
Is that
know,
like a monthly pass we're talking about, or a daily pass that they might need?
monthly, it says monthly pass for
And
the
they're
first 10.
50%.
50, yeah. They couldn't go 100%, right?
So where
But
where are these guys supposed to park to climb on the bus or trolley, whichever it is?
well, they say Old Town Transit
Old
Center
Town,
is,
yeah.
Yeah, well,
yeah, Old Town.
that'll be full if there's a huge event over there.
That's another good point. Yeah. How much parking do they have in Old Town?
Oh,
But you know what? I think what they expect is you to take the trolley, right? You park, throughout this,
Park somewhere
from wherever you park somewhere else. Yeah. But anyways, that's almost to me just like that's like a slap in the face and throwing the city a token, a shuttle and a bus pass to your employees. So that's almost that's a crime. It's laughable almost, but that's what they're proposing. And they also, I should say that they're also proposing to do intersection improvements that have been addressed in the community plan. But it's not listed here in this mitigation measures. And in my letter, I've asked them to list the other intersection improvements. So it gets documented well that it is a mitigation measure, and with a time frame on when they're required to produce those intersection improvements.
Wow, 810 page document.
Yes, it is. Like it. Let me. Well, Paul, why don't you can you put up the letter, or I can put it up, I guess. Let me see.
Let's see, I had it here. Your letter. Let's see. I think it's right here. Hold on a second. Let me go over and share.
All right.
Share screen. Is that show it? Is that the letter?
Yeah,
Okay.
Can you see this?
Yes, I see it now.
Is it big enough or what?
How is that, guys? Can you make that out a bit?
yes.
Yeah,
All right.
I printed it out and I've actually read it.
Okay. So, so what the letter really basically says that we feel that the mitigation measures that are proposed are inadequate for the for the amount of traffic that's going to be generated, and that the usage is also speculative, that there's no guarantee that the employees are going to use their pass, and there's no guarantee that people are going to use the shuttle either. So
Well, I like I said, I did read the letter, Javier, and I think it's fine. What you wrote, I was surprised that this project came back to life, because I thought it was dead due to the financing problems, and apparently it isn't. It isn't, but my take on it is that the city is trying to capture as much sales tax revenue as it is from this development, and they'll do anything to get it, since they're big $225 million deficit on that. So, but it's worth fighting it with these with the subjects of concern that you've raised. I wish I haven't had a chance to read the 810 page supplemental impact report, so I could probably dig up some other things in it. Most notably the financing, whether the financing is even feasible on that. But
yeah, I don't know if they even talked about the financing in the impact report. They may have, Andrew. So I know it is a large document, and it's like I say, I pinpointed, what I felt was important to us as a community is the traffic. And they also the report does have noise is unmitigated also. So
well, my problem is I didn't even know really what the project really was, because it had morphed so many times. And the promoter had basically said, well, they promise all this stuff, but they never promise specifics. So they never provided specifics. So I felt that they weren't serious on it.
And Javier, we were saying about how many people they can accommodate for an event. Is that event that is outside of the stadium? Because that's even higher noise volume. Is it always inside the venue?
no, it's there. They can have venues inside and outside, because
Yeah,
they have.
Yeah.
And,
That's a new dynamic for that area. We've always had venues inside, except for the Kobe swap meet. So
right.
They have an event they're showing a video outside for the people who can't get inside, and they might have 20,000 people there or something.
yeah, that's going to elevate the noise coming from that area for sure.
Right.
Hey Javier, I've got I'm running here at Google Earth, and you had talked about Greenwood Street, which if you can see this, Greenwood Street if that went straight through, it looks to me like that probably would go right through the venue that they're proposing. Because the EOS Fitness, I don't know if you see what I'm highlighting. here.
Yes.
That's the end line, and Greenwood Street is not that far away from it. It would seem to me that if you ran a street through there, you'd want to hook it up to East Drive. And so you'd have a common, you wouldn't have an intersection that was, off kilter. And I don't know if that would work.
No, Paul, that is an excellent point you brought up, and I'm glad you brought it up. So the community plan update requires that Greenwood Street be extended to Sports Arena Boulevard. And I thought I go, it was an moment, and I had like 2 paragraphs written about they're not meeting the community plan. They need to extend Greenwood, because the traffic plans did note that it would be very helpful to relieve traffic from the major intersection, Sports Arena, Rosecrans, and Camino de Rio, and also the Midway intersection. But at the, this was, 2:00 in the morning when I figured this out. They submitted a community plan amendment in March of last year and amended the community plan so they wouldn't have to build Greenwood Street or extend it. So that, it's a shame we weren't aware of it. It wasn't very well, it wasn't publicized. They didn't tell us. They go to these community meetings and they don't talk about those things that they're gonna do like that.
Well, you don't have a graphic up here of what the facility, of what the layout is for the whole place at the moment. If you want to share that, you could, but Greenwood Street appears like it's fairly close to the end of the project on the east side, and that I don't know if that would make sense. It might make sense to come up where the word Kurtz is and run it across, and then directly hook it up to East Drive, which would mean there might be a road in front of the large venue, maybe not. But if that
Yeah,
venue,
let me share the
stop
screen
this.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. To zoom here.
It would seem to me that all of the streets that came through the frontier and all those, they should line directly up with streets on the other side. Ideally, maybe that won't work.
Doesn't exactly line up, but your point is well taken, and it's unfortunate that well, it's clever that they did that. All right, so
Yeah, look where Greenwood is.
yeah, Greenwood. So at one time, this was their privately owned property from, as you said, the gym and the other property.
Their parking
And
lot structure.
they were going to incorporate that into the project, but apparently they're not any longer. And so the project went from 52 acres to the 49 acres. And Greenwood, in accordance to the community plan, was supposed to extend right through here. They are building Frontier and Kepper streets. But they taunt themselves, or they stroke themselves in the back that they're adding new roads, but those are required for egress and egress into their project and for a better project.
Well, Greenwood would conceivably take a portion of the entertainment center, so they lose a fair amount of square footage there, wouldn't they, if they actually had, I forget, is Greenwood 4 lanes or 2 lanes?
Oh God, no, it's probably two.
I think it's 2 lanes. It is 2 lanes, yeah. But
It's
It still loses a fair amount of space.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they deleted it. They didn't want to lose this whole corner space, but they could have made it a promenade or something, in a walkway or
Well, there's
uh
another street up here called Sherman, which would make sense. Yeah,
yeah,
see it, it's right up against the green thing. And
right.
maybe you come just to the outside of the, the west side of that green thing and run it down. And I don't know if it would hook up to East Drive or not. You'd have to put a curve on it to do that.
So what they're proposing for Sherman is they're calling it this is their big square or plaza. So they have bike access through here, and it's all walkability. It's this big plaza. But that's that they're never going to go do that. The only one that was a possibility was Greenwood, because it was in the community plan. So like I said, they had to amend the community plan so they wouldn't have to extend Greenwood.
Well, you'd have to go behind the entertainment center right up against the property line with the EOS parking structure or something to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that, I don't know if that helps what we'd like to see happen here or not. So what is this box here that has nothing with there's no lines between the green and the light green and dark green? Yeah, what is that then?
That's a good question. I don't know if that's there is one parking structure they're building. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Good. It's not labeled. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. You can put the letter back up.
You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
So I want to see where the committee wants to go, if they have additional input on a letter, if they want to add a additional mitigation measure. We can just make some suggestions, and then we can take a motion, and I can modify the letter and present it to the full board.
Well, like I said, in reviewing the letter is fine, Javier, as it is. To add to it, I'd have to go through the 810 pages of the supplemental environmental impact report to find out what this project actually is right now.
Right.
So, and you've gone through it, and so that's,
well, like I said, I didn't go through the 800 pages. I just focused on the transportation, and so, I looked at noise and I tried to see where the unmitigated measures were, and and there was really only 4. I think it was the traffic, the noise. I think there was historical items that are unmitigated. Oh, here it is. Here's the. Let me see what they have. Less than significant. So if you go to help you, Andrew, to go through the document, if you go to the table S1 summary,
yeah,
it kind of gives you a good summary of where the mitigation, where the impacts are.
okay.
Geological,
I
none.
would just say on the letter here where it talks about Greenwood Street and Kurtz, that maybe after that we would say that Sherman Street would be a reasonable alternative to Greenwood Street. But they're probably going to push against either one of them.
Right. Yeah. But we can. I was going to say, like I said, it was getting, there's a lot of information, and it was getting, I think I had spent 2 late nights putting it together. And so I could add some information on Greenwood or Sherman. I'll do that. I'll put something about that.
It's kind of interesting to me that there's no like east-west street that parallels Sports Arena and Currents going through here. That, I originally thought if they wanted to really make this work, that maybe they should get the bus and run the bus down the middle of the middle of it, instead of off, to get it off Sports Arena, to serve all these homes and the facility. But they want to keep it on the side, and you know, people are gonna have to walk a considerable distance from the part that's near the freeway to get to the bus. They're not gonna probably be adding, they might add in a stop somewhere, but you know, that's a long way to walk. Even though it's well under a mile or a half a mile, but you know, people are, you know, gonna balk at it, I think. Especially when the
I-
bus service is probably not gonna be that good.
Yeah, and I think you caught a good point, Paul, that they're gonna remove one lane out for Sports Arena Boulevard for the bus, a dedicated bus lane.
No,
And
that's
for the
absolutely ridiculous.
And for the shuttle, and then between Rosecrans and Sports Arena Boulevard, they'll have a dedicated bus lane also.
You know, those dedicated bus lanes, they ought to have a limit of how many buses you're operating on them before you install them. You know, the one they put over by the zoo, there's something like 11 buses an hour running on that, which means that about every 5 minutes, there's a bus that uses that lane, while the other 2 lanes are totally jammed, or the other 1 lane in that case. I mean, it doesn't make sense to take a 3-lane street and take a lane away if you're gonna be running like 2 buses, it's 4 buses an hour each direction, which is, I think, what they might have at this point. It's crazy. And then is there
I agree.
talk about bike lanes, or are they gonna put the bike lanes inside the facility?
I think they have bike lanes inside it, and yeah, I think that's a good. I don't know for sure, but I think they definitely have bike lanes inside the facility.
But if you're going to Old Town on a bus, you gotta cross Sports Arena Boulevard,
Oh,
you know, which is gonna be like 6, 7, 8 lanes, depending on how many left turn lanes there are there. And a bike lane and a dedicated bus lane, it just doesn't, it's not real convenient.
No. So I do have a suggestion. I would suggest I would add a paragraph on evacuation access.
yeah, that's a good point.
So if somebody wants to make a motion to the letter, we can add something about Sherman and Greenwood connecting streets, and we can also add a paragraph on the evacuation that they should address the evacuation preparedness. Have an evacuation plan.
I'll make that motion.
All right.
Second,
Does anybody else want to add anything to the letter? All right. If not,
Yeah,
then we'll take a vote. So we have a motion by Andrew and a second by
that's
Sam.
include the Sherman possibility and the evacuation plan?
Right.
Okay, great. I'm for that.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, raise your hands. Okay, unanimous. And we'll have another bite at the apple at the board meeting. Like you say, Andrew, it's a big document, so maybe you'll have a suggestion or two at the board. If you do get an opportunity to go through it.
Okay.
But thanks for supporting the letter.
you're welcome. Yeah, it put me to sleep. At night.
Oh, reading the document? Yeah.
Where's the link to the actual SEIR?
If you go to the agenda,
Oh, agenda in there?
Is it
Yeah,
on there?
there's
I
a
don't know if it is or
Click
not.
on the agenda.
I know I did put a link on it. It
Yeah,
should be
it's
blue.
there.
Okay, so you do have a link there. Okay, great.
I do have a link to it. Yeah. All right, so we'll go to the next item, and it's just a discussion item. So I participated on the CPC's ad hoc ADU bonus program, and it's we have one more meeting tomorrow before it goes to the CPC. And I thought I'd just update you on what the committee, the ad hoc committee is thinking. And if I could summarize it in a few words, is they're pushing to have the ADU bonus program or the ADU program reflect the state requirements. So I do have a spreadsheet. That's the spreadsheet that Corla had in her email that was developed by the ad hoc committee. And like I say, there's one more meeting coming up tomorrow where hopefully there'll be some firm recommendations. And let me flash that on. And oh gee, let me see what's going on here. My computer is. Hey, Paul, can you go to your email and grab that table that Corla put that Corla sent out?
An email?
Yeah.
When did she send that? I got so many.
Yeah.
I can find it.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time making
Was
this
that
work.
recently or oh, I don't know.
Yeah, she just sent it out.
It's
Oh,
in
here.
my email, I think.
Javier, which one was it? Because I've got her emails here.
Oh,
The
okay.
bonus ADU, there's like 4
Yes.
documents.
Yes.
Is it
It's the
there's the
bonus
bonus-
ADU. It's a table.
a table? Okay.
What's the date on it?
Yeah.
These are letters. One looks like, let's see.
I see something.
Is it, let me see, can I share my screen?
There's April 7th.
Sure.
Yes, you can.
Is it this one?
No.
No, wait a minute. Why am I not seeing my screen here?
You should see it. I see it.
Huh, okay. I'm not seeing what I'm, so it has some charts in a PowerPoint, it looks like.
Yeah, no, it's
That's not it?
It's not it. Yeah.
Okay, so let me keep looking.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, my I had too much stuff opened that it just kind of my computer crashed a little bit.
Were you looking for the ADU bonus thing?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's her letter of the 7th as an attachment.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't know how I can.
Oh, I found it. So
Okay.
I think I can share this again now.
Is that community planners committee ad hoc?
Yes. All right, let me share this. Okay, we got it back up. All right. So I thought it would, like I said, I thought it'd be good just to share what the community planners group is thinking about right now, or their ad hoc committee, and this will go to the full CPC. And like I say, so in the table, the second column is the CPC recommendations, what they're discussing, and the third column is the existing rules or regulations of the ADU program with the city of San Diego. And so one of the things that they're pushing is in single family lots, is where it says quality lot, is to have 4 maximum units. So max out to have the ADU program state that for any single family lot you can only have 4 maximum units, and that would include your primary, 2 an attached and a detached, and one bonus affordable unit.
So that's 4 total and not 4 extra behind the regular property, the single.
That's right. It'd be 4 total on a lot, so. And then regards to the quantity and the lot size, it would be based on the city proposal, which is the underlying FAR requirement.
Yeah, I see they're talking about trash, and the 4 is a division on trash. If you're over 4 units, you have to, the city won't pick it up.
Right, and there's another item after 4 units, the water systems design is based on if you're over 4 units, you're considered an apartment complex and you have to have different fire flow. So that's another thing that aligns with this. Then on the height, they're recommending the state 16 and 18 feet detached and only 25 feet attached. And then the setbacks, the committee's recommending 4 feet side and rear. As you know, the city has 0 foot for single stories.
Yeah.
And 4 feet only when it's above 16 feet. And parking, the committee is pushing to make sure that they have at least 1 parking space per unit.
That's good, yeah.
And that would have to be outside the TPA, because as you recall, the TPA requires, the state law says no parking is required in the TPA. So that would be anything outside the half a mile.
But the TPA now in the city is a mile, I believe, and it says
So they would
over there.
So yeah, that was the SDA. So they would require 1 parking space in the SDA outside of the TPA or the half mile.
That's good.
Yes.
So what's the radius of the TPA these days now? Half mile?
A mile.
Yeah, the TPA is a half mile, but the city has passed an SDA on top of the TPA, which extends to a mile.
So there's no required parking within the TPA, within the half mile.
Or the SDA.
Correct.
Too. SDA too, right?
Yeah, the proposal is to have, right now there's no parking requirements in the SDA. You're right, Paul.
And the
So,
TPA, which is included.
Yes, you're right.
So is that
they're
state law or municipal? Is that state law or the municipal code?
The municipal code allows no parking for ADUs up to a mile. The state code only allows it to a half mile.
Okay,
No
so it's preempted by state law essentially for within a half mile.
Yes, you're right. It's preempted by state law within the half mile.
I think the SDA, it says here mile walking distance, so I think that's different than like as a crow flies, which could be what the TPA is. So, it could be that you're a half mile, but it'd take you a mile to get somewhere in certain locations to cover that half mile crow distance.
Yeah, I would prefer that the parking requirement be within the TPA also, but if it's preempted by state law, you can't do that.
We can't do that, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so I think those are, some of the big points that the committee is looking at. And if you guys have any other thoughts or ideas, I can certainly champion those at tomorrow's ad hoc committee meeting.
A big one there is the zones there. They're going R1 through R14 through 14, where the current thing is not going to cover the majority of, like where I live is an R17. And
Correct.
that's one of the largest ones in the city. And for some reason they want to not include that one.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Paul. The major point I would make is to include the RS17 zone subject to these regulations.
Mm-hmm. That's what they're proposing on the left line there on the bottom of that page 1 there. It says zones, but on the right side, the city says only covers certain zones and R17 is not in there.
Yeah, so
Correct.
does this include RS17? That was,
No,
It says 1 through 14 on the left side, which is what they're proposing, so it would include 7. The left side,
oh, okay, yeah, RS1
Yeah.
through RS1 through 4, okay.
yeah,
I
so
didn't catch that.
so that would be my recommendation. I think it would be Paul's also, in that the RS17 be included in this document.
mhm.
Looks like they're, I didn't catch that. I thought they were gonna stay with the council recommendation, so I'll get clarification in that and we'll see where the committee goes with including RS17 also. But it looks like they're trying to include the whole city under these refined new recommendations that you and that makes sense. So what this is saying then is on every single family lot, you can only have 4 maximum ADUs, which is fair. So it does include,
Well,
it will,
Yeah, maximum of 4, I assume, right? I mean,
yeah,
if
maximum
they
of
have a
4,
small
right?
lot, they may not be able to get 4. I guess my
Right.
question would be is if you look at the CPC recommendations, is that does the state law allow is it looser than what they're recommending in any case? In other words, the city has allowed more things to be built versus the state law, and the CPC going, is CPC recommendations the state law itself? Or is it?
Well, they're saying 4, which is, I think, 1 more unit than the state.
Okay, I got you, state.
Yeah,
So why don't we conform entirely to the state law and make it like 3, as well as include the RS17 zone?
yeah, and I didn't want to get into this, but there is a state agency that's interpreting the new state regulations that came out, that you can have 1 attached ADU and 1 detached ADU and a junior ADU plus your primary residence, which equals the 4.
Or,
Okay.
But and I wonder if they have a footnote on this. They had one before, where they were talking about it, but I'll try to get more information on that. So
Yeah, it looks really.
I don't want our zone to be basically a sacrificial lamb for dense development by including us out of this.
Right. So this is correct. It does include RS17. So what this is saying is, in any single family zone lot, there's no ADU bonus program. You can only build 4 maximum. And then when you do have your setbacks and you have parking, you're reducing your footprint, and so it makes it harder to even put 4 units in a RS17.
And then you have height limits too, right? So
Right,
that mean
right.
you can't do 2 stories for these ADUs like they were doing at Claremont, where
No, you could go up to the height 25 feet, they're saying here.
yeah,
25 feet.
detached mean
Hmm.
versus attached.
The thing I wanted.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So
Because like in Claremont, they had 2-story, and this one, they had 2 sets of houses on the property heading back three, they had 6 of them, 2 rows of 3. And
so
they were
so-
2-story, they would have been over that 18 feet, I'm sure, I would think.
so you're right. It's only 16 to 18 feet, which is the state law. And the 25 feet attached is the state law also. So it says all ADUs follow state law. So you can still have 2-story, because you can do a 2-story 18-foot.
I guess what do you attach to? Another, just two units can then go up to 25?
No, when it says attached, you can have an ADU attached to your primary house.
Okay,
So you just build it right next to it and attach it against your house.
Makes sense, because a lot of houses are already 2 stories. I mean,
Right. Right.
Now, if they adopt this, will this apply to all these things that are currently ministerial, that are in progress? I didn't see how.
No, I don't think, I think if they've submitted and they're in the queue, that this is not retroactive.
That's a
Actually,
good point, though. Does this continue ministerial review process?
You know what? I will make that a comment that we should
yeah, I
put
think
probably,
that's an
that's a
important
good,
comment.
we'll put another box in here, ministerial review. That's a great, I think that's gonna be a tough one to, because as you know, the mayor is taunting the ADU program as a fast stream way to get housing through. So I will bring it up for discussion, though. That's a good point.
Because this basically mirrors the Neighbors for a Better San Diego proposal.
Yeah.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
good. Well, that is great because if we're all in sync when this goes, so this will go to the planning commission first. After after the CPC recommendations, it will go to the planning commission. And then it'll go to the subcommittee, the landing and house news, and it's supposed to be to council in June. And so we would have an opportunity in May to put together our position, a letter from our board.
Yeah,
In
and
May.
the advantage of this is that Neighbors for a Better San Diego were able to foster a very, very big demonstration before the city council. And so they'll probably
Right.
do it again.
I don't know if it was better. I think it was the Encanto group that was really sparked the community involvement with yeah, it was all definitely a community group effort from Encanto to other community groups across the city. But man, that Encanto group, they really came out in full force.
hey, that's really good, but Mike, I have a slight concern here that, like, say, the monstrosity they're looking at, Talbot and Rosecrans, wouldn't be included because it's not an R1 zone. So there must be something else that San Diego is approving to bust the 30-foot height limit in commercial zones or whatever, or what would it be, multifamily zones? That would then
Yeah, that would be
allow
the
these crazy things to go on that they're looking at, and they'd still have the same issues of water hookups and everything you would think that would match up with what this document's looking at for residential.
What does the thing say about required infrastructure to support the development? Does that do anything?
So that's the diff. We didn't get into that, but that will probably be they're talking about having, and I think that's also addressed in the planning department's letter, that they would have some sort of fee, some development impact fee for ADUs to avoid the loophole that they have now. So stay tuned. I don't think that was finalized yet. That'll probably be discussed next meeting.
Okay.
Good point. Excellent point, though. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we got some good input, and I think I'll bring up the ministerial planning and see where that goes, and we'll make sure we continue to follow up on the diff, so the developers pay their fair share and don't use the state loophole to not pay for their share of the infrastructure.
So the ministerial, would that mean that these projects could come in front of the planning board? Is that what we're looking at? Or without skipping?
I think the CPC is going to try to make a recommendation that they come before the planning boards.
Right. So maybe that could be added into that a ministerial thing, and if it's necessary, just say,
Mhm.
recommend all ADUs go in front of the planning board, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think
More
I
than-
will bring
more than
this.
two Units or more than one unit or something or other, I don't know. Whatever it would be.
I will bring that up for discussion, so they discuss a recommendation for which maybe you're right, maybe your single ADUs don't go those are ministerial, but anything over 2 units has to be ministerial or something like that, so.
Or discussed.
Yeah. All right, good discussion. I appreciate the input, and we'll have this on the board. I'll give a follow-up at our board meeting to see where the CPC landed. And as you said, Andrew, if we're all aligned, it just puts more pressure when this goes before the Land Use and Housing Committee and Council, that the community groups, Neighbors for a Better San Diego, is all aligned on supporting the same platform for the
Yeah.
ADU bonus program. So,
Yeah, no, they've done a lot of good work on this, and so I support their proposal. With the exception, RS 17 be included.
yeah, got it. All right, that's all I had. Is there any other the last item is just talk about anything that you guys may want on the agenda next month, or just start thinking about some other items coming up that we don't lose track of.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, me also.
Same here.
All right, well, with that, we want to thank you for your time and participating. It's 7:16 and time to go grab a bite to eat. And I saw, Paul, you already had your glass of wine. I was jealous.
Yeah, and then I knocked it over.
Oh, let's get the hands going, right?
There.
Yeah.
Well, Javier, thank you for all your work on this. This
Yeah,
letter and everything took a lot of effort.
Yeah, no word. Thank you for participating and supporting the letter, and we'll get it before the board. All right, we'll see you at the board meeting. Thanks.
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Good night, all.
Night.
Good night. Yes. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for putting
No
the
problem
Zoom.
here.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm shutting it off.
Bye.
Bye.